Welcome to Bike Week Radio Show.
Powered by Geico. 15 minutes can save you 15% or more on motorcycle insurance.
Bike Week Radio Show with Bobby Wooldridge, Broc Glover, and Paul Carruthers on San Diego's sports leader, the mighty 1090.
Good morning and welcome into Bike Week Radio Show on San Diego Sports Leader, the mighty 1090. Thank you guys again tuning in, making us a part of your Sunday morning routine, and special shout out to all those listening to us on our brand new handy dandy Bike Week Radio Show smartphone app. Back in studio, the lovely, talented, wonderful Paul Carruthers. Great to see you, buddy.
Yeah, good morning. It's nice to be here. I'm a little tired. Last night was, man, if you were a motorcycle racing fan, last night was a busy night with the remote.
It's like being in an opium den.
I have thumb pump from hitting last. But no, I'm doing well. Nice to see you guys.
Good to have you back. Scott Cox also in studio.
Fatigued as well. Watching, I was happy just to watch Supercross till Paul texted me and said, "Oh, you know, World Superbike is on simultaneously." So I was same deal, back and forth.
And unfortunately, we are Brockless this morning. Broc is somewhere flying over the flyover states of America en route back to San Diego. But don't worry.
Well, we've got our, one of our fantastic Bike Week Radio Show listeners send us this lovely Broc Glover paper mache model here, sitting right there next to Paul.
That's why we have the...
Kind of looks like Broc, don't you think?
Looks a lot like him.
It talks less. But don't worry, we do have a big, full show. Desiree Bates, who is a former Bike Week Radio Show guest. And
a good one.
A great one. And so we'd love to highlight our past guests. And Desiree, she just won the 2015 AMA Outstanding Off-Road Rider Award and for her helping fighting for Ocotillo Wells. And she also has a cool event coming back to the Booze Brothers where we were just at.
We were just there. We were there a week ago.
And she also welds kinky stuff for people's basements.
Yeah, she's quite a crafts person.
Yeah. Well, that'll be for a different show. We'll get in more detail with that. Also, Nick Rosenberg, we caught up with him at the San Diego Supercross. He's the sales manager for Vay Powersports, and they got a new shop in El Cajon.
Yeah, Vay's has been around for forever, and it's nice to see that they've connected with Nick and his family and built a beautiful new dealership out there in El Cajon.
And also, if you want to call the program today, you know what? Phone lines are open. We would love to hear from you guys. 877-792-1090, 858-457-1090. But let's just jump into the news with our good buddy, Mr. Paul Carruthers.
Nobody knows the news better than Bike Week Radio Show.
This was an age when only men were allowed to read the news.
And only Bike Week Radio Show has Paul Carruthers.
Hey, I'm here. We can do the news now. It's all right, everyone. We can do the news. Hold on. Everyone, why are we all standing around? Let's go.
Well, it doesn't happen very often, but it's always nice when World Superbike is in Australia, which is, as we know, like a full day ahead, and Supercross is back east.
Yeah. Timing was beautiful.
Because old guys like Scott and I can actually stay awake.
We gotta get our sleep
for both events. So it was cool last night. They were both on pretty much the same time. So once you got your channels dialed in and you could just hit that last button.
Back and forth, I can hit one.
You were commercial free and full of race action. And actually the World Superbike Series, that's kind of cool on BN1 Sports, where they don't even really have commercials.
You know what? They just push play and away it goes.
Right. And then you, and the racing there was excellent, as is always the case at Phillip Island. It's one of those, for starters, it's like it's in a beautiful location. It's actually on an island, a couple hours from Melbourne, and it's a really fast racetrack. And it's funny because a lot of the new racetracks that are built, they kind of make them a little slower, and they've got chicanes and they've got this, and the racing's not as good as it is when they're
wide open,
when they're on a fast racetrack with fast corners.
And that track's been there forever, right? Because that's where they go to test preseason.
I mean, my dad raced there a zillion years ago. That's how old it is. I mean, it's obviously gone through some changes.
Sure.
But no, it always gives great races, whether it's World Superbike or MotoGP. And yesterday, last night was no exception. They had two awesome races that, were in doubt till the very end. The first race was a heated battle between Kawasaki's Jonathan Ray. If you remember, he's been riding Hondas for a few years. And he's one of those guys that, I don't want to take credit for saying that the guy's how good he is.
Wouldn't you, Bobby?
But he's always been that guy that you're like, if he gets on a better bike, because the Honda's old. Face it, they'll be the first to tell you that. If he gets on a decent bike, he's going to race for the World Championship. And now he's Tom Sykes' teammate on the factory Kawasaki team, and he showed it right away. He won the first race, barely beating Aprilia's Leon Haslam with Ducati's Chaz Davies third. Now, Leon Haslam is one of those guys where, I would have kicked him to the curb 2 years ago if I was a team owner. And here's a little resurgence from him. And again, he came back in the second race and actually won the race, beating the same two guys, Jonathan Ray and Chaz Davies. Kind of cool. 3 different manufacturers on the podium in both races.
That is nice.
And even better, okay, I got it here somewhere. Race 2, there were 6 different brands in the top 10. That's what everybody wants. You want manufacturer parity. I'm pretty pumped because that's a new rules package, and Moto America is going to use a similar rules package. So we'd like to obviously see that same sort of parity. But you can see that what those FIM guys and Scott Smart have come up with is a rules package that works for all those manufacturers. Aprilia, Ducati, Kawasaki, Honda, Suzuki, and MV were all in the top 10.
Unreal.
Now MV, they had a pretty good day in World Supersport.
And they mentioned, as a sideline there during the race that, the injection of cash from MB being Mercedes-Benz with MV.
Yeah,
that's a good thing.
Anytime you have injection of cash, it usually helps.
True.
And they went out and won 1-2 in the World Supersport Series. So I don't know if we're going to see any MVs in Moto America, but if I was a team owner, I'd maybe go to the dealership and see what they have available.
Yeah, because the tow vehicles are pretty awesome.
The margin of victory was, it was a blink of an eye between the top 3 guys in both races. It was Haslam beat Ray by 0.10 of a second, and Davies was 0.2 of a second behind in third place. Tom Sykes had a bit of a rough race in the first race. He was kind of forced off track, and he ended up 6th. In the second race, he rebounded to finish 4th. But he's probably questioning himself based on his new teammates' results. But, you can't take anything away from Tom Sykes. He's won a world championship, and I'm sure he will be a factor for the course of the year. The cool story that came out of Australia was Troy Bayliss. Yeah. He's 45 years old, 3-time World Superbike champion, and he jumps on the factory Ducati.
After being away for how many years?
7 years.
7 years.
7 years. The last year he raced was 2008. And here it is, 2015. He's 45 years old. Okay, it's a racetrack he knows really well. It's in his homeland. He was obviously fired up. He qualified pretty well. He brought a whole new element to that race. It was perfect that it was in Australia. Obviously, if you're the...
But you know what? The guy is he's such a hero. I remember being, I think it was 2007 or 2008, I was at the EICMA show in Italy, and I was in the TCX booth, coincidentally, and they had Cyril Dupre and Tadej Blaszushak and a lot of the hot guys there. All of a sudden, Troy Bayliss comes up through the crowd. People lost their minds. He was such a hero.
He's good people. And, he did well. He finished 13th in the first race. He ran as high as 7th. In the second race, he blew through a tire and had to pit and still finished 16th. But, again, it's, it would be like Chad Reed coming back in 7 years and trying to race Supercross,
Could happen.
And that's a pretty good segue into our Supercross report because it was a pretty good day to be an old Australian. Not that Chad Reed's that old, but in comparison to his competition, he is, and he'll admit that. I think 32 years old. Yeah, 32 years old.
Yeah.
And he went out last night and pretty much dominated the Atlanta Supercross. He
did.
He led flag to flag. If you watch the race, it's like he got that good start, and then he instantly said, okay, I'm in first place, and put a little gap.
Yeah.
And I think that's key because I think in those races, if you notice any of those top guys, if they get a good start and they get the whole shot, it takes a lot for somebody to run him down from behind.
Yeah,
because
the percentages are definitely working in their favor.
So he did a great job. By the time Ryan Dungey got into second, Chad had a bit of a gap, and Dungey ate away at that gap. And in the last couple of laps, you thought, is he going to be able to catch him and beat him? But Chad.
It's funny. I saw some banter during the race, and just after the race, in fact, and people are celebrating, and saying, Chad, and a lot of people saying, I knew he was going to do it, and my wife would admit this if we called her right now, but early in the day I says, you know what, I just have a feeling 2-2 is going to show us something tonight. And so it was, I'm a fan of Chad's, but I'm a fan of all those guys. But he rode well, and it's funny how people were saying, well, Dungey, one guy in particular commented, well, Dungey held off. Chad isn't a threat for the points. I'm thinking, I don't think Ryan Dungey ever holds off. I mean, it's at this point in the season, you're charging. I mean, you want to get on the top of the box.
Yeah, those guys don't hold off. They wouldn't be.
Hold off.
No, they wouldn't be where they are if they held off.
And I don't think they know how to ride at it. You don't say, well, I'm going to run 9/10 tonight. You just go.
Now, Ryan Dungey gained a heck of a lot of points on who many people think is his toughest competition, Ken Roczen. But in Ryan Dungey's mind, if he beats Chad Reed, he's, what is it, another 5 points? Or,
yep.
He's not holding back.
Which could come, late in the season.
You need all the points you can get. And if those guys are
chunk.
able to make those passes and get those extra points, they do it. They don't hold back. If that's the last race of the series and he's got a big points lead, okay, then he's holding back.
Yeah.
But he's not holding back at this point.
Not at this point, no.
Trey Canard finished third. And as we were saying a little earlier, that moves him into second in the championship, thanks to basically was a horrible night from Ken Roczen. And anybody
he's having a string of horrible nights. I mean, that was a pretty sketchy get off when he crashed in qualifying.
Yeah,
it was really dangerous.
It was scary. And anybody who saw the replay of that, I mean, it's rare when you see those guys get to the point where they're off track and slamming into a.
And he was already carrying a little bit of injury from his hard crash. What was that, 2 or 3 rounds ago?
Yeah, and you hope he gets his confidence back and gets healed up, because he is, he's one of the fastest guys, obviously, and he's the one that I think could give Dungey a run for his money in the championship. But yeah, he's just in a bit of a funk at this point, and now he probably woke up this morning feeling a lot, because he had another crash in the main event.
Probably not going to go for a motorcycle ride this
No,
morning.
I think he's probably he might have a couple of days of rest and relaxation, and he deserves it, and that's probably the best thing he can do at this point. But you got to hand it to Ryan Dungey. The guy's solid. I mean, if you're trying to chase somebody down in a championship with the lead that he now has, man, I can't think of a worse guy that you're trying to chase down.
Well, and you look at the upper echelon riders like the Roxons, and I guess we could throw Chad Reed in there also. Dungey's out there just being Dungey. I don't think we're seeing anything different than what Ryan Dungey's based his career on. He's developed this name. I see guys are using now, his nickname is Diesel, right? Even on TV, they're saying, yep, there's the Diesel, because it takes a while to warm him up, but you just can't stop him.
Right.
And he keeps charging. And I just wonder who's got the package to, he's on his game. He's not changing anything up. He's just doing what he does. And the other guys are kind of hit and miss. And now with Roczen out with some injury, what's he going to be like over the next 2 or 3 weeks as he tries to recover? And, we watched, we talked about it in, earlier pre-show. We talked about a guy like Eli Tomac.
Yeah, that's disappointing.
He's struggling. Whatever else is going on in his training or his life, I mean, he just doesn't seem engaged. I mean, he tucks the front end on what I think he's the only guy that really crashed in that turn. He kind of made it looked like something a rookie would do, where he's coming in a flat, fast turn.
Yeah, I mean, he crashed when he was basically still straight up and down.
And he goes down, and you just wonder if the guy's laying there going, oh, forget it. Let's push the restart button and get the season going again.
Right, and it's still in the back of your mind. You still think he's one of those guys that could win 4 or 5 races in a row if things turn around for him and he gets his confidence, and because he's good enough to do that.
I think so.
And same with Roczen, but I mean, at this point in time, I wouldn't want my money on anybody other than Dungey, and unfortunately, I have made a little wager here.
Ooh.
And my money's not on Roczen.
That's what we do, right, guys?
Yeah, you got to. I call it. It's kind of a donation sometimes. When you make stupid bets, or
you donate from.
It's
that
putting
guy.
back into the economy. Allowing somebody to have more money to spend, and hopefully they spend it in a local establishment. Right, Bobby?
I follow you a little bit.
Anyhow,
Getting a little
it was
too political for me.
Let's talk a little bit about 250s.
Let's do.
Go ahead. You saw it.
Oh, man, Marvin Musquin. I mean, he is, I have to admit, he's one of my favorites. And I have a bunch of favorites in the 250s this year. But Musquin, here's a guy that's come back from pretty traumatic injury that just toasted his season last year. I think he blew an ACL out severely in a practice crash last year. He's back. I mean, from the drop of the first flag of the first moto this season, he's at another level. I mean, he is elite beyond elite. And he's racing against Tyler Bowers, who's running the number one plate because he was the season champion last year. But I think Bowers has totally got his hands full and probably regretting that Musquin did so well in his rehab, and he's come back. And I think we're just seeing, just like Dungey, we're seeing the rider that Musquin is. He hasn't changed. He's not doing anything more spectacular than he has in the past. He's just a totally solid athlete. So last night, he struggles a bit. You mentioned how important the starts are in Supercross, which they are. And in his first qualifying race, first heat of the night, he gets out there, gets a lousy start, then he crashes. He goes down. He did a decent start. He's probably about 34th. He gets to the second or third turn, and another guy just lands on top of him, knocks him off the bike. Fortunately, he wasn't injured, but he got up in between 15th and 20th place, and he had his work cut out for him. And they only transfer in the 250s. They transfer the top 9 finishers, and I think he finished 8th. But it was a battle, so it was exciting from the first moto of the night. Kind of set the tone for not only the 250 class, but for the race last night. And in the main, the 250 main, I mean, Musquin got out there, but he was part of a pack of 4 guys. Martin Davalos on the new Rockstar Husqvarna team in his 66th start.
Now, that's a guy. We talked about Ken Roczen waking up not feeling so good this morning.
Yes.
Ken Roczen's injuries will go away.
Yeah.
If I'm Martin Davalos and I wake up this morning and I led that race for as long as I did, and I end up 4th, he went from 1st to 4th in one section. 3 guys passed him.
He did.
I mean, that to me is more difficult to overcome
but I
than
think
whatever.
he's used to that. I think he's a fine guy, but I think he's used to, he's right there, and it's like watching the Chargers. It's like we've got
okay, come on.
We've got a
Twist the
10-point lead, and there's 2 minutes left in the game, and somehow
something.
somehow it just sometimes doesn't.
That was the old Chargers,
Stay
though.
together.
We've got the new Chargers.
The
now.
LA Chargers.
No, don't even start.
Carson Chargers.
The Carson Chargers.
God.
But anyway, back to the 250s and Musquin, or Musquin, as we've asked him. So how do you pronounce your name? It's Musquin, and he's a rider that really, for me, makes the sport. I love seeing a guy like that, and we've had some fantastic countrymen of his, some unbelievable French riders over the years that come over here and really just engage with, American-based AMA Supercross, and he's a pleasure to watch.
We've had some that haven't.
Well, that's true. But, I mean, he gets out there and he just elevates the sport. Everybody he races, even the guys he passes, I think he makes them better riders. I think anybody that was on the track with him in the main last night is a better rider today because they got to see how you're supposed to do it.
But we can't forget that he didn't win. And we can't forget the guy who did
Doesn't
win.
matter. He's
Star Racing's Jeremy Martin.
Jeremy Martin, he's a solid rider. He is the East Coast version of Cooper Webb. I mean, they're like bookends. They're both little cocky dudes. They're like little Jack Russell Terriers. And I cannot wait to see those guys go at it mano-a-mano when we get to Supercross, to the finale in Las Vegas in May, because those guys on the track together, they're both on Yamahas, and I think we're really in for quite a show. But seeing each of those guys ride is what it's why we pay the bucks to sit in the stands and pay attention to the sport.
But anyways, last night was a tiring night, but a great night to be a racing fan. And, the Supercross Series has been great the whole year, and it's continuing that way. Those World Superbike guys have to be pumped because their series started off as well as you could ever imagine. And, it's cool for us to have something good to watch every weekend, and it's going to be fun.
I'm going to switch gears a little bit because an announcement came out this week. Maybe you have an opinion on that. But AMA Pro Racing announced that, longtime industry operative Michael Locke has taken the helm at AMA Pro Racing, kind of overseeing the dirt track, the flat track guys. So congratulations to him, and it'll be interesting to see with a guy like that in the seat what heights that series can reach.
Yeah, it's a perfect opportunity. The dirt track series, I think, is at a good place, and I think it's ripe to keep taking steps forward. And they seem to be making some moves that should help that. So I think, hats off to him. I think I've met Michael up before. He seems like a nice enough guy. I don't know a lot about his history. I've never worked with him, so I don't have much of an opinion there. But they're trying something. So
I mean, he's worked in the UK. He's a Brit. He's worked for Honda UK, Honda Motor Europe. He was with Triumph Motorcycles and was a head guy there. And then he was CEO of Ducati North America, which is a big deal. I think he's been away from the industry for a couple of years. I think his last job before this one was with Lamborghini. He was chief operating officer. So, he brings a lot of boardroom chops to the party.
Probably more important for what they're doing is the fact that they hired Ronnie Jones a couple of weeks ago.
True.
Because he's going to be actually the guy in there, working on the dirt track portion of it.
That's
and
right.
He's a guy with immense history in the sport, and I think he's...
And a likable guy.
He's a great
guy. In
guy.
fact, my wife, Pat Cox, bought him ice cream sundaes once upon a time.
Well, there you go. That's
just saying.
How can he lose now? So, no, they've made a couple of moves that'll help their series, and good on them. I mean, I want that series to do well because
for sure.
It's Americana.
Plus, they're the top riders we've had on the show here. They're great guests on Bike Week Radio Show.
Well, excellent work handling the news, my friends. Coming up next, Desiree Bates, who, as we speak, she's out in the desert helping spread the word for the fight for Ocotillo
It's what
Wells.
she does.
And that's why she's the 2015 award winner for the AMA Off-Road Rider of the Year. Boom.
You can't
Proof
contest
is in
that.
the pudding.
Boom.
And so we'll talk to Desiree Bates coming up next. Also, though, we were joined by Chuck and Wendy Coro from Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys last Sunday.
Had a blast.
And also Mickey the Boxer. We can't forget Mickey the Boxer.
Yeah, I missed Mickey the Boxer.
Mickey the Boxer was a blast. We'd much rather have Mickey the Boxer instead of you and Brock all Sunday. So
I agree.
But here again is one of those helpful riding hints from our good friends, Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys. Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys have been representing riders for decades. And here's Chuck Coro from Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys to provide you with a helpful riding hint.
If you are unfortunate enough to be injured in an accident, even if the insurance company admits fault, it doesn't mean the case will reach a timely conclusion. With certain injuries, insurance companies want to be sure that injuries were not pre-existing. In those cases, be prepared for a thorough investigation of your medical history before your case is resolved. Keep in mind, however, that pre-existing injuries that are exacerbated in the accident are compensable.
This helpful hint has been brought to you by Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys at 1-800-4BIKERS or online at russbrown.com.
Oh, officer, thank you for stopping. It's my husband.
What?
His tongue is frozen to the back bumper.
So how did he...
We were going skiing, and we got stuck in the snow, and while Hal was struggling to push us out, he slipped, and his tongue...
Well, only one thing to do.
What?
Celebrate Toyota Carlsbad's 43rd birthday and get big savings on new and used Toyotas. Get a free pair of lift tickets to Mountain High, Southern California's closest winter resorts while supplies last. Get one pair per new or used Toyota test drive. No purchase necessary. Must be 18 years old with California driver's license and insurance.
Toyota Carlsbad.
Details at ToyotaCarlsbad.com.
Here's an idea. Bear with me. You could save quite a bit of money just by switching your motorcycle insurance to Geico. Piles of it, in fact. But there may not be a lot of room on your bike for all that extra cash. So I had somewhat of an idea. You could get one of those nifty little sidecars, pile it up with all that money you just saved, and merrily drive on your way. It's just a thought. Just off the top of my head.
Call Geico today for a free motorcycle rate quote. Geico, saving people money on more than just car insurance.
Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys are the real deal. Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys. Their entire practice is dedicated to representing motorcyclists. As riders themselves, they understand why you ride, the issues you face, and the motorcycle culture. For over 30 years, Russ Brown and his partner Chuck Coro have been helping injured motorcyclists and their families get the care and compensation they deserve. Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys also created BAM. BAM! A nationwide buddy system of over 2 million riders helping riders in the event of a roadside emergency. BAM offers free legal advice, and thanks to Russ Brown, they have staff on hand to take your call 24/7, 365 days a year.
Imagine a real person answering the phone 24/7.
Just call 1-800-4BIKERS for more information and to get your BAM card today. If you go down, call Russ Brown. 1-800-4BIKERS and online at russbrown.com.
Hi, James here from Toyota of Escondido. Guys, if you're hearing this commercial, that means you are into powerful machines that go fast and are durable. Toyota of Escondido has the biggest selection in San Diego of Toyota Tacomas and Toyota Tundras. Whether for work or play, we can customize the truck of your choice into the truck of your dreams. Don't waste time anywhere else. Stop by or give us a call. Toyota of Escondido. Freeway Close, where Highway 78 meets Broadway, just east of the 15.
This is Bike Week Radio Show with Bobby Wooldridge, Broc Glover, and Paul Carruthers on San Diego's sports leader, the mighty 1090.
Welcome back, Bike Week Radio Show, San Diego sports leader, the mighty 1090. As always, the best parts of the show happen in between the breaks around here.
God, that was a funny video Paul just showed us with Bobby's scooter instructor.
We'll put it up on Bike Week Radio Show's Facebook page. Paul, you go ahead and send that to Scott.
Hits Paul's Kia, sets off the alarm.
It may or may not be appropriate to be airworthy.
Perhaps not.
But, that Bike Week Radio Show Facebook page, it's,
It's all goes there, right?
It's PG-13 rated, right? So,
Yeah.
we invite everybody to...
She didn't cuss when she hit the car.
Well, we leave that to you, Paul.
Yeah.
Well, let's head out to the hotline where, returning to Bike Week Radio Show, Desiree Bates. Desiree, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing great, and we're in the presence of a legendary
Greatness.
company now. Yeah, I mean, we're missing our golden boy, Broc Glover. But
I was going to say, we get rid of Brock, but we're still
We
like...
got Desiree.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get
Come on.
Desiree in here, and we're still the only guys at the table without awards.
Oh.
Well, Desiree, you were just received the 2015 AMA Outstanding Off-Road Rider Award, and for your work with fighting for Ocotillo Wells. And so congratulations, with a round of applause, if I can ever find the button on here.
Copy.
you.
Analog.
There we go.
huh?
There we go. Well,
Thank you so
Desiree,
much.
congrats.
Thank you. I got nominated, and then the AMA called me up and said, "You've been nominated, and here's your award." So, yeah, it was pretty rad.
It was a category of one. No one else was even nominated.
No. There's a lot
Right?
of people
Exactly.
vying for that award. We know that.
Well, it's a national thing, so I mean, it was definitely for people all over the country who do things for their off-road land. So it was a national ordeal for sure.
Fantastic. And
So she kicked national butt.
damn
She did.
right. And tell us where you're at right now, because we believe you're out in the desert just continuing to do your thing.
Currently, I'm sitting in my truck because we're going out to the desert today for round 2 to pass out flyers and get the word out about the general plan and our off-road social coming up next week.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about that. It is going to be Thursday, February 26th, 7 p.m.
Thursday, February 26th, 7 p.m., yep. And so real quick, the general plan is coming out for the state park, and that includes the park wants to put a trails only out at Truckhaven, where Tierra del Sol currently, has their events, and the general plan also calls for no events out there. So 53 years of Tierra del Sol could possibly not happen because of what's written in this general plan. And so off-roaders really need to know this. Off-roaders really need to voice their opinions. And we actually have a woman from the committee herself, from the general plan. She is coming out to this event, our first social in North County next Thursday. She's coming out to talk about the general plan. She's on our side. She wants what we want. If off-roaders want no trails only and we want to ride wherever we want, that's what she wants, But the point is people need to say something. Otherwise, they think you don't care.
That's true. That's true, and we've got to care because there's too much at stake not to pay attention to it and not to support your efforts and efforts.
Exactly.
Of people
This has nothing to do with the lawsuit. This is the state park itself. With the flat-tail horn lizards and all that stuff, we just need to stay involved at all times. And so this social is going to kind of do that. So people can come out and ask all the questions they want and just find out how to get involved. There's no cost. There's no donation. There's no membership. And we're coming to you, so there's no excuse not to go.
And it's at Booze Brothers. So
right, come have a beer and talk off-roading. How awesome is that?
Yeah, Broc and I pre-ran it last Sunday, and we can attest to the fact that it's a place for any meeting, really. But this is an important one, and I'm hoping that we'll just fill the house out there on.
Oh, I hope so.
February 26th.
Yes, I hope so.
And maybe we got to bring the old Booze Brothers owners in here. Obviously, they're motorcycle friendly. They hosted Carlsbad MX reunion, like you guys said a couple weeks ago. They're hosting your guys' event coming up here on Thursday. So maybe
it's kind of a speakeasy kind of place too. I mean, it's in a semi-industrial park. It's off the beaten path. You're not down fighting for metered parking anywhere. And it was a nice vibe, nice atmosphere there, and really friendly people. Great beer. They had some nice vittles for us there too when we were there for the Carlsbad thingy. But Desiree, give us another idea, or give us you're pretty active riding, wrenching, welding. Tell us what else is going on in your life. I know this is central to your being on the radio show with us today, but you're a multifaceted person and interesting. Give us a snapshot.
Training for a triathlon right now. I'm doing my first ever triathlon, which is running, biking, and swimming. I don't swim, so I'm learning how to swim. This is my first.
Drowning can be part of a triathlon.
yeah, it's going to be on the ocean, so that's kind of new to me.
Just get a really buoyant wetsuit.
Yeah, right. Or just a little floaty water wing thing, whatever.
That'll work.
And I think you should, bring your off-road bike instead of the road bike. That'll cut down your time a little bit too.
I'll waste everybody.
Desiree also, she's a master welder, and
true
with the 50 Shades of Grey,
and we have a project
being very
for
popular.
You, by the way.
I'm surprised that I'm sure your workload isn't exploding with people.
I know.
Yeah, and we have a project. We have a microphone, and we want it. We want a 3D version of our Bike Week Radio Show logo that we thought, Desiree would be the perfect person to craft this for us. So,
oh, rad!
Yeah, when you're back in town, we need to get together, and maybe we'll talk about it February 26th at Booze Brothers.
She could probably also have handcuffs attached to it.
Oh, yeah. I'm already getting handcuff ideas. Don't. Yeah, we'll get you something good.
All right. Well, Desiree, fightforocotillo-wells.com is the website. You also have a Facebook page. That's the best place for you guys to get the word out there. So everybody go out there and follow you guys, fightforocotillo-wells.com.
And real quick, we're going to have more off-road socials. This is just the first of its kind. So Fight for Ocotillo Wells is now a committee of the San Diego Off-Road Coalition. So that committee now consists of myself, Ed Stoven, Bill Kassler from Tierra del Sol, Ed Stoven's from Corva. So we have one person from each, coalition that's now a part of the Fight for Ocotillo Wells committee. And so it is our goal to bring the fight to you. So these off-road socials are going to happen all over the county, just so that people can stay informed. And if Facebook isn't doing it, then we're going to come to you, drink a beer, and talk off-roading.
You have our support.
Thank you.
You're always welcome to be on our air, be in studio with us. Ed Stoven's been a guest here before, and what you're doing is very important to Bike Week Radio Show and to our Bike Week Radio Show audience.
Thank you for your support. It means so much.
I like that. The 5 fingers are becoming a fist now.
Yeah,
I like it.
Right? And that's what needs to happen. We need to unite, and that's what's happening, and I'm very proud. So.
Well, Desiree, good stuff. I know you got a busy day ahead of you, so we won't take up too much of your time, but thank you for carving a little section out of it to talk with us here.
And good luck with that triathlon.
Oh, thank you. Have a good day, guys.
Thanks again, Desiree. I think a good competition, maybe Desiree in the triathlon, then the three of us maybe take one leg and try to beat her.
I didn't know we'd ever have a 50 Shades of Grey reference on our show, but we did.
Well, I was just doing my homework on the Desiree interview, and so of course I was looking up.
How many times did Bobby tell us he watched that movie last week?
I can see a 50 grades of shea on this on this side of the table.
50 grades of shea. Speaking of Bruce Brothers.
Oh, my goodness. Start the music. We got to go to break. Coming up next, we'll talk. We'll play our interview with Nick Rosenberg, who we chatted with.
Yeah, we hung out with Nick there.
Yeah, San Diego
in the
Supercross.
sunshine, right there in the shade, in the shadow of Petco Park.
And we are partnered with the Legends and Heroes, and always a pleasure being out there. And we can maybe recap our events at San Diego as well, because first time at Petco Park, that's a great time.
It was great. It was a lot of fun.
Well, coming up next, Nick Rosenberg from Vase Powersports, right here, Bike Week Radio Show, San Diego Sports Leader, Mighty 1090.
Officer, thank you for stopping. It's my husband.
What?
His tongue is frozen to the back bumper.
So how did he...
We were going skiing and we got stuck in the snow, and while Hal was struggling to push us out, he slipped and his tongue...
Well, only one thing to do.
What?
Celebrate Toyota Carlsbad's 43rd birthday and get big savings on new and used Toyotas. Get a free pair of lift tickets to Mountain High, Southern California's closest winter resorts while supplies last. Get one pair per new or used Toyota test drive. No purchase necessary. Must be 18 years old with California driver's license and insurance.
Toyota Carlsbad.
Details at ToyotaCarlsbad.com.
Here's an idea. Bear with me. You could save quite a bit of money just by switching your motorcycle insurance to Geico. Piles of it, in fact. But there may not be a lot of room on your bike for all that extra cash. So I had somewhat of an idea. You could get one of those nifty little sidecars, pile it up with all that money you just saved, and merrily drive on your way. It's just a thought. Just off the top of my head.
Call Geico today for a free motorcycle rate quote. Geico, saving people money on more than just car insurance.
Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys are the real deal. Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys. Their entire practice is dedicated to representing motorcyclists. As riders themselves, they understand why you ride, the issues you face, and the motorcycle culture. For over 30 years, Russ Brown and his partner Chuck Coro have been helping injured motorcyclists and their families get the care and compensation they deserve. Russ Brown Motorcycle Attorneys also created BAM. BAM! A nationwide buddy system of over 2 million riders helping riders in the event of a roadside emergency. BAM offers free legal advice, and thanks to Russ Brown, they have staff on hand to take your call 24/7, 365 days a year.
Imagine a real person answering the phone 24/7.
Just call 1-800-4BIKERS for more information and to get your BAM card today. If you go down, call Russ Brown. 1-800-4BIKERS and online at russbrown.com.
You're listening to Bike Week Radio Show with Bobby Wooldridge, Broc Glover, and Paul Carruthers on San Diego's sports leader, the mighty 1090.
Welcome back, Bike Week Radio Show, San Diego sports leader, the mighty 1090. And thank you again to Desiree Bates for joining us. And if you want to call the program, if you have 2 cents, maybe we'll listen to a penny of your thoughts. 877.
See what he did there?
877-792-1090, 858-457-1090. Again, 877.
Don't be afraid.
792-1090.
We're very approachable.
Well, when was that, 2 weeks ago now? When San Diego hit?
A couple weeks. Yep.
Time flies, you know?
It does.
We were sitting in the Petco parking lot, partnered with the Legends and Heroes, and we sat down with Nick Rosenberg, the sales manager for Vase Powersports, and talked about the legendary name of Vase. Legendary.
Yeah, in this county anyway.
And they're expanding. They have a new super mega store coming to El Cajon, and so we had a wonderful opportunity to sit and chat with Nick Rosenberg. Here's our interview with Nick.
So you got a new store now, but we talked about some of the old locations. How long has Vase been around? I mean, I think my entire life, but how long?
Vase been around for a few entire lives. He's been around since the 60s. It's been like a jet ski dealership forever. He builds
pretty substantial jet ski dealership.
He was a jet ski addict for a long time there. ATCs, everyone's known him. Oh, Vase built my jet skis, this, and this. Right. And he then was in a Magnolia, had that shop there, moved a few times, sold a few times. Then we bought a dealership. Then we got Quincy. Then we got the Superstore now.
And the Superstore is located where?
You go 8 East off 2nd Street, make a left, and it's right on the left-hand side. You won't miss it at all.
Nice.
Yeah.
And what brands are we seeing in there now?
We have 2 locations, one in Lemon Grove and the El Cajon one. The El Cajon one's brand new, so we're pushing that one a little more. But we carry every single Japanese brand. We got Honda, Yamaha, Kawasaki, Suzuki. We even got KTM. We got a few brands coming, so looking forward to see some new stuff to fill up the showroom.
That's great.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked.
It's nice to see a business built by a nice guy, nice family.
It's
and
all family. We all
still
ride.
realizing success.
Yeah, it's 100% family. Everyone is in the family. We got my brother, my dad, my mom, my grandpa, Haley, my girlfriend works all the time there. Everyone.
So nobody's resting is what you're saying.
No.
You're sales manager. You're like back there cracking the whip.
No, the big old boss man works a sweatshop, I always like to say.
It's good, though. That's why you're still in business after all these years.
Yeah, well.
So give us some highlights. You're open how many days a week?
We're open 7 days a week, so every enthusiast is there for us. We got Monday through Friday, we're 9 to 7, Saturday 9 to 5, and Sunday 10 to 4. Service is open 6 days, Monday through Saturday, and Sunday service is closed. Sales and parts is open. Still making sales every single day. We're pushing a lot of units. We're doing good. A lot of sales coming up.
Product's so good now. I mean, I've done a tour over to Europe, been to the big shows over there, and starting to see manifestations of the new models that I've seen unveiled, and you carrying all the Japanese brands.
Yeah, KTM pushes it too. We have a lot of stuff from there. We're going to Hawaii for a dealer show to view the new KTMs. Hopefully some new stuff, shiny stuff coming there.
Yeah. So. And if things work out, the bikes will be a couple days late, and you'll have to extend your trip there in Kauai. Huh?
That's always how it works. That's always how it works.
And they put on a good show.
Exactly.
Yeah, we did work for KTM for a long, long time.
Yeah.
So how about you? What kind of riding are you into, Nick?
I ride a KTM myself. My dad and I have done a lot of riding. We've done the Rip to Cabo with Cameron Steele, with Johnny Campbell. Done that a few times. And we do enduro, single track stuff. We ride as much as we possibly can. It is only in our blood to ride.
And you're in the hotbed. I mean, you're in a legendary place. I mean, that El Cajon Valley, I had some people from a boot manufacturer with me last week, and as we came to the valley, in northern Italy there's a valley called Bergamo. And Bergamo is where Franco Cerbi's from. So Cerbi's Plastics comes from a similar setting, a little bit different. The language is a little different,
right.
But Bergamo Valley is where all the top enduro and a lot of the hot legendary rally racers have come from. And I said to my friend from Italy, I said, we're now coming into California's Bergamo Valley right now. And he totally got us.
No doubt.
And he said to me, he's old enough, he says, the Cajon Zone? I go, yes, you hit it on the head. You are now about to be in the Cajon Zone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it's nice that you guys are still out there thriving and taking care of customers.
We
probably
try.
third and fourth generation customers now.
We do. I've seen a lot of guys who've dealt with Vey. My dad's actually sold. I sold a motorcycle to a customer that my dad sold a motorcycle to when he was in sales before I was born.
Nice.
It was crazy. I was like, no way. I didn't believe him.
I like it.
Yeah.
Good.
And so you said the new store off El Cajon's just less than a month old, and it looks beautiful. I mean, big windows, huge ceilings. I mean, this thing looks like a
it's about
30,000
square feet, 2-story. It came from a rectangle furniture store. We turned it into a Superstore motorcycle dealership.
All set.
It's ginormous for that.
How long did the renovation process take to turn this thing around?
Well, you know yourself, construction takes forever.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. We try to get in there October, November, and either we get in there, we do construction while we're open, or we wait until it's done and open. We decided to wait until it's ready to turnkey, and we were in there turnkey, and it was the best thing ever.
Fantastic.
I walked in there, my computer was set up, I didn't have to do anything. Definitely.
Great.
Well, fantastic. We appreciate you coming by here and checking us out. I mean, Bike Week Radio Show, we've been on the air for 3 years.
Nice.
So we're 3 years old. So we have a lot of catching up to do to you guys over Vey's
we like to hang out with the legends. Here we are, legends and heroes. Mm-hmm. And I'm just going to say it. Vey's is absolutely a legend and hero in the San Diego
Vey's Powersports
motorcycle
is trying to
market.
push it out.
Yeah, no question.
Well, thanks again. There you go. Nick Rosenberg, sales manager of Vey's Powersports. Always like to show a little love to the local shops
Nice,
here in
enthusiastic young guy.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's doing a great job there at Vey's.
I know they're doing a great job, and we weren't lying, man. They're at that new show floor. Huge, amazing, beautiful.
Yeah, nice place. San Diego County is blessed. We have a lot of really nice dealerships, and if you're a motorcycle customer, San Diego in many ways is like heaven for motorcycles. We got the weather, we've got umpteen places to ride, whether you're a sport bike guy or a cruiser guy,
scooter guy.
there's all sorts of reasons to be on two wheels in San Diego County, and it's nice that a company like Vase Powersports is as dedicated as they are, and taking care of business here.
And you'll be able to ride your motorcycle up to Carson to see the Chargers.
Wow.
Yeah.
Paul Carruthers coming out swinging, and Paul, we wanted to give you the platform, my friend, in the last couple minutes of the program, as you, my friend, have been a very, very busy man, and it is about to get even more busy for you as your series starts to wind up here.
Yeah, it has been busy, but Scott and I were just talking off air there. It's we've been able to get a lot done. I mean, it's a true startup.
We're talking about Moto America.
Moto America, yeah, sorry. It's a true startup, but we've got a lot of guys working real hard, and we've got a long list of things to do, and we keep checking them off. And
yeah, but when he says we've got lots of guys, I mean, he's got a guy named Wayne Rainey who is in there, and I was asking Paul, I says, confirm that Wayne is not just a figurehead. He's not just some guy who is a multi-time national and world champion saying, "Yeah, go ahead, attach my name to this thing and see what happens." I mean, you're telling me he really is. He's Wayne Rainey to this new venture, just like he was Wayne Rainey to GP motorcycle racing.
Yeah, the same reasons, the same things that got him to the point where he got in racing are the same things that he's bringing to this. And he's honestly, he's spending more time at our office in Costa Mesa than he is
drinking coffee. I understand.
Yeah, he likes his coffee. He's spending more time at our office in Costa Mesa than he is at his home in Carmel. And you can imagine what a draw sitting in Carmel would be compared to putting in the work. Mesa. But he's it. He's the face of our deal, and he's the backbone of it. And he's busting his butt to get it to where we need it to be, so that somebody asked him in an interview the other day. It's like if this thing goes bad, you risk the opportunity of people not thinking of you as 3-time world champion Wayne Rainey anymore, but as the guy who couldn't make road racing in America work. And yeah, he probably does think about that.
Keep him awake at night.
Yeah, it's he's worked hard on his reputation and his credibility, and he's not going to let this screw it up. And the way he goes about things, and the way he gets us to go about things, and there's no way that's going to happen.
And you've got a solid group. I mean, Bobby, we can admit, even though Paul's here and he can hear it, I mean, Paul's a pretty solid guy. If you had to tap somebody to be your communications director for an enterprise like Moto America, I think Paul would be on my personal short list, and I think he would be on everybody's short list. But, you've got Wayne Rainey, and you've got some solid guys behind you. I mean, you've got your pretty efficient operation. From what you described me, you don't have this huge monolithic organizational chart. You've got really important stuff that will be core to the success of Moto America, and you've got the right guys assigned to each of those segments.
Yeah, we've got some good help. We have the Con agency that's helping us with some PR stuff. We've got family events who are going to help us on the local level promote those races. We've got Isan, who's done promotion of these events before. He's put a lot of people in Road Atlanta and the other events that he's been involved in. So we've got some people that are giving us a lot of good help. But I think at the core, we've got a lot of guys. Actually, we have a few guys who know the business. I mean, I feel like I'm with a team of motorcycle racing guys that get it.
Instead of a bunch of suits that.
Well, yeah, we don't have those suits. I mean, from the top to the bottom, we have motorcycle racing people that have been there, done that, and that to me is what makes the difference. Because I think to be successful in motorcycle racing, you have to know how to speak motorcycle racing, because it's a core group that they know when you're BSing them,
True.
And that's our goal, is to not. We don't do that. I mean, we've got a common goal to make this series mean something again, and we're all working hard together to get it to that point. And I don't see us having anything other than success. And
you've got a big deal coming up in just a matter of a few weeks.
Right. We have a We have a Dunlop tire test coming up in the middle of March. They're our spec tire for the series. The AMA guys haven't raced at COTA before, and that's at Circuit of the Americas in Austin.
Yep.
That's our first round of the series. So it's going to give the riders in our series an opportunity.
So all of the teams and riders,
they're all welcome to participate. So I think we're going to have a lot of teams out there, a lot of riders out there, and Dunlop will give them an opportunity to test their tires there, so that they can know what they need for when the first round comes, and it'll give those guys a chance to familiarize themselves with the track. It also, from our standpoint, gives us like a test of actually
to see if all the gears are.
To actually do an event, and we have things like timing and scoring that we've got to make sure are right. And for myself, it'll give me an opportunity to do some PR work and promotion with the local media in Austin, so that they're up to speed with what Moto America is when we come there.
Will you invite like the world and national motorcycle press there?
Yeah, we're gonna have as much of the media as we can get there. The track's been really good and helpful as far as they obviously have a big footprint in Austin, with the local media, that they can attract those guys over there, and it'll be good to have those guys, so when they come to MotoGP, they also know that Moto America is there and kind of what we stand for and what we're about. So,
sure. Man, that's nice. It's exciting. We're living vicariously through you week by week. I just can't wait to see the season get underway.
Yeah, I'm excited. I want
become a bigger fan than I am now.
Next week, it's cool. I'm working with the TV production company, and we're doing our 1-hour preview show for CBS Sports. So they're coming out to California. We're going to do some features with, some.
Are you going to be on camera?
No, they know my voice.
Oh, well,
they know my face is made for radio.
Let me be back there calling shots.
Here's what I say we need to make Paul do, though. Bike Week Radio Show T-shirt, Bike Week Radio Show sign, and just stand in the background of it.
Works for me.
Yeah, with the
Yeah.
And Bike Week Radio Show goggles. You're on the podium there.
I can make that happen.
Just you're double dipping. That way for us.
I'm liking it.
Done.
National exposure.
Brotherly love.
Well, Paul, great work, my friend. We are once again excited to have you back in studio, and we'll see you next week.
Yep, I'll be here.
Scott Cox, great effort out of you again, my friend.
It's been a slice. I'm excited. Speaking of slices, we're going to have some slices here within the next hour or so with our friend Brad Lackey.
Hey.
What kind of slices? Pizza?
Pizza could be involved.
And you also had one other shout-out before we get on.
Had a shout-out. You know what? Art Ekman, longtime voice of Supercross and Motocross, and David Bailey's co-anchor for nearly a decade of racing coverage. And, we wanted to salute him. Art is he's the guy of the weekend for Legends and Heroes down in Atlanta, and he's a huge celebrity in Atlanta. He used to be the voice of the Atlanta Falcons. So, Art Ekman, we dig you. The Ek, proud to know you, and really proud of you and your affiliation with Legends and Heroes.
Well, we got to get out of here. We'll be back next Sunday. Thank you for tuning in. If you missed any of the program, head to iTunes or just download that Bike Week Radio Show smartphone app. You can check out all the podcasts as well as individual interviews. We'll be back next weekend right here on San Diego Sports Leader, the Mighty 1090.
You've been listening to Bike Week Radio Show.
Powered by Geico. 15 minutes can save you 15% or more on motorcycle insurance.
Join us next week for more Bike Week Radio Show on San Diego's Sports Leader, the Mighty 1090.